We are going to be talking to you. We have some 5th grade leaders, and we're going to talk to you about how we can keep the earth healthy. And that starts with you, and it's going to start here at Claymont. So you recognize me from helping in the lunchroom. Yes. Yes, and I'm usually helping with sorting the trash, aren't I? Yes, that's usually where I am. So today we're going to teach you some ways that you can help that and why it's so important for our group.
Okay, so let's just start off with what is composting?
My name is Jasper. I'm in kindergarten and my name is Leica. I'm in kindergarten and my name is Agnes. I'm in kindergarten and my name is Skylar. And my name is Lindsay.
And I'm Maya from the Highfield Center for Composting.
We are going to teach you how to compost at your school.
What is compost? Compost is a pile of green organic matter, like food, garden waste, or manure, that has been mixed with brown organic matter, such as leaves, straw, or wood chips. Over time, the compost pile decomposes or breaks down into soil. Billions of tiny creatures help with this breakdown, including worms and fungus, and bacteria. Compost is very rich in nutrients and can be used in gardens and fields to grow crops and to heal soil. And why should we compost?
Compost helps our growth so it doesn't be all just loaded with trash. Garbage doesn't get used like compost does because garbage goes into a big pile wherever that is.
These piles are called landfills. When you throw your food into the garbage, this is where it ends up. Landfills seriously affect our planet's air and our water. When sent to a landfill, leftover food, also known as food scraps, will produce a gas called methane. Methane is a powerful greenhouse gas that goes into our air and contributes to global warming in a big way. Greenhouse gases trap the sun's heat in our atmosphere and warm up our planet. Hotter temperatures can lead to melting ice caps, rises in sea level, and animals losing their homes. There is a lot of water in food. And when food scraps are put into the landfill, the water from the food combines with all the other items in the landfill to create a toxic sludge called leachate. Leachate can leak into groundwater and get into our rivers and lakes, harming the creatures that live there and dirtying the water that we drink or swim in. When we compost our food scraps, instead of sending them to the landfill, we reduce both the amount of methane and leachate created. But also, we conserve space in our limited landfills. In short, composting is much better for our planet. A closed food cycle is created by keeping food scraps out of the landfill. Food is grown, eaten, and then the food scraps are composted back into the soil to grow more food. So, where do you put your food scraps?
We put it in the compost buckets. They say compost only on them so people know to not put anything else in.
Source separation is very important. That means keeping food scraps in a container by themselves. At your school, there will be a bucket to put food scraps specifically. It's very important to keep everything separated into the proper containers. For example, trash goes into the trash can and dishes go back to the kitchen. What goes in the compost bucket?
You can put in carrots, apple cores, lettuce, cucumbers and tomatoes, orange, watermelon, strawberries, pizza and strawberries, ice cream, fish.
You can also compost any of these. Meat and bones, eggs and eggshells, cheese, milk and other dairy products, bread, flour and pasta, butters, oils and fats, nuts and nutshells, soup and sauces, seafood and shells. Basically, anything that you can eat can go in the compost bucket. Some schools also have compostable napkins and dishes that can go in the compost bucket. Ask your teacher if you use these at your school. What does not go in the compost bucket?
You cannot put plastic in compost. You cannot put milk colorants in the compost. You can't put in napkins, metal cans, glass jars, paper plates, that silverware, watering cans.
And don't forget to peel the little peel you stickers off of your fruit. Remember to check with your school, but in general, if it isn't food, it cannot be composted. So, no plastic, no paper, no metal, no wood, and no glass of any kind. So, what happens to the food scraps once they leave the school?
All those tiny compost buckets, they'll empty out into a big compost bucket, so those in the compost truck goes to compost.
The food scraps leave the school and head to a compost facility where they are blended and made into compost.
They sit for a year and turn into dough, made out of food.
We've come a long way from the lunchroom, and now that the compost is made, what can compost be used for?
Grows grass. Compost turns into flour. Composting can help your family grow vegetables. The compost helps grow food so you can grow taller or smaller. Don't you grow smaller?
And that's it. It's just one big food cycle. Composting closes the loop on our food system, creating a healthy, harmonious, and sustainable system for all of us to thrive.
Thanks for watching. Thank you for composting.
So did you guys like that video? Yeah. Did you learn what to compost and what not to compost?
Yeah.
Okay. So like the video said, when compost or your food scraps is mixed with soil, it gets broken down by little bugs. These little bugs break down the soil, so the compost, so it makes the soil more healthy for your plants to grow. Let's learn about recycling now. So what is recycling?
Ahoy, matey! Thank you for inviting me over today, Maria. We make a good pirate team. I'm glad you could come, matey. I think I hit buried treasure. That's not treasure, that's trash. Actually, Peter, it sort of is treasure. What do you mean? Come on, I'll show you. It's a plastic bottle, which means we can recycle it in this bin. But isn't that the trash? No, it's the recycling. See? That symbol means recycling, not trash. You want to make sure when you put recycling away, you're putting it in the right bin. It might look like trash, but it has a very different use. What happens when you recycle something? Well, I can't wait, I'm moving, I'm on my way, going to the world of recycling. It's my turn to help for a brighter day. Reduce, reuse, keep the earth clean, plastic, savoring life. We all get our own chance to be new again. We're separated, moving through the big machine to get us ready to make sure we're speaking clean. Now we're off to see what we're gonna be. This is how we all keep the earth clean. Plastic, neighboring lives. We all get our own chance to be new again. To be new again. To be new again. Wow! It's almost like magic! It is magic! I'm going to make sure I always recycle. I'll tell my mom we should get a recycling bin at our house too. You can also help out by using reusable water bottles and filling them up again at home. Instead of buying water bottles you only use once and then throw away. Wow! Helping the earth is easy. It is! Now come on, let's keep digging. Maybe we'll find more treasure. Your splash reminds me of the 7 seas. Let's go make a pirate ship out of some old boxes. Aye, aye, Captain.
So I take it you guys like that video too? Recycling is a great way to not expand landfills or big piles of trash. And it's a great way also to reduce, reuse, and recycle. The 3 R's. You'll learn about that later. Objects like milk cartons, soda cans, paper, and even more can be reused to make amazing things by using the same materials and not wasting new materials. Does anybody know why we should compost? It helps the earth grow. Good. It keeps the fish from dying. Yeah. One more. So it can help the earth live happily. Yeah? Composting is super important, but if you compost the wrong thing, it could damage the earth. For example, a bunch of people throw their food in other bins besides the compost. When people do that, the food will go to a dump where it gives off a bad smell. That smell will take a long time to break down. Also, food cannot ever be reused or recycled. Now let's see a video from lunch.
Are you guys excited to meet Mr. I am so excited. Oh gosh. Me either. You go? Let's go. After recess. There. And my tray. Oh, get out of my way. I'm trying to get to recess to meet Mr. Tray. Hey, come on, coming. Shopper, what do you want this for? Mine stuff? Well, Bill, your banana is orange. It's going to go in the compost. But if you haven't eaten them, you can put them up here for someone else's. Your napkin goes in the trash. Your spoon goes in the compost also.
No.
Your fork has to go in the trash. If you have a milk carton, it goes. You dump the milk in the compost. And then the milk carton goes to recycling. And if you have a right boat, it goes in the compost.
Thanks, lunch helper. That's really helped. But I think I need a little more help. Would you guys watching like to help me?
Okay, so you do want to help Phil. Okay, so for lunch, Phil had a milk carton.
We use some of our milk cartons for the monsters.
Okay, so Phil had a milk carton. And he's wondering where he puts it. So would anybody like to come up and show me where it goes?
Delaney.
Okay.
If there was still milk in it, what would we do with the milk? Autumn, where would the milk go? Compost? In the yellow. So you dump the milk and then you recycle the carton.
But yeah, the recycling bin is the right bin. decided to get something healthy for lunch, and a banana. And he ate the banana, and what was left was the peel. But he doesn't know where the heck it goes. Does anyone want to show him? I don't know anyone's names.
Cameron. Okay. In the compost. Good job.
Let's see. Is it correct? It is. Phil had some pretzels in a plastic bag that he didn't finish. Does anyone know where to put it?
Remy. Super close. Let's dump the pretzels in here. So Remy said dump the food in here, and then the plastic bag is pretty tricky. So even though it's a plastic bag, you cannot recycle plastic bags. You have to throw plastic bags away.
So Phil decided to get some salad for lunch. Do you guys ever have salad? He had it in one of these little red marked boats. I mean, where would he put it?
Matthew. Close, 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 close. Nope.
No. So if you think about it, it would normally go in like the trash bin, right? Because it's kind of like cardboard. But we have special red and white boats so that they can go in the compost and get broken down by bugs into soil. So Phil had to have a tray today because he bought his lunch, and he had no idea where to put it. Correct. Great job.
Explain this part to you. So we stack all of our trays at Claymont, and at the end of the day, Mr. Long takes all of the trays and they all go in the compost. So we have special trays at Claymont. They get broken down and they're compostable, but we don't put them in here during your lunch because they don't stack very good if they're all just kind of thrown in, and then we'll actually run out of space in the compost bin. So we stack them all nice and neat and tight together, and then we just put them in here at the end of the day. Okay? So that's where they go. We're not somebody said that they thought that we reused them. They go in here and they get compost and they go back and do it. Okay?
So Phil had a milk carton, and we already put that in the right bin, but he used a straw. Does anybody know where the straw went?
Caleb.
Come on up.
You know where the straw is?
He was right.
So Phil had a complete set, but he finished it. So this all goes in the same place, but where? There you go.
All right, boys and girls, so we are almost at the end of our time together. So one thing that I noticed and I learned from all of you is I think you guys all know where stuff needs to go in the cafeteria. So we are going to be counting on you to make the right decisions. Because we found out through going through trash last year that almost everything we have at Claymont can be composted or recycled. We have just a little bit that goes to the landfill. And so we need to do a really good job of making sure that our trash goes in the right places so that it can be reused or it can be returned back to the earth. Okay? One thing that we are going to be talking about here at Claymont is trying not to use straws. So we are going to start talking about maybe having your milk without a straw, because we can compost any liquid, we can put the milk cartons in here, but the straws are trash, and there may be something that we don't actually need. So we're going to start trying to reduce the straws that we have.
I never use a straw.
Thank you for never using a straw. Maybe you can encourage your friends to never use a straw either, and maybe bring water bottles from home. So there's lots of ways that you guys can help, okay? In your classroom, just a minute, in your classroom, if you have breakfast and you have milk or juice, you can put your milk or juice carton in the recycling bin in your classroom. It can go in there. It doesn't have to be the one in the cafeteria. So that's one way that you can help starting tomorrow morning. Okay? Yes, Bella? You don't? Boys and girls, raise your hand if you're not going to use a straw anymore after today. Oh, that's exciting. What's
I don't even know.
Oh yeah, Miss Gary has a question about trays.
Bring the trays to breakfast. Should they walk them back down to the lunchroom, or what should we do with those in our classroom, or staff them and bring them to lunch?
So Miss Meyer, third grade teacher here, said she is going to start collecting the trays from breakfast and then having a student maybe walk them down and compost them, because they don't need to go in the trash because we can use them other places. So they can be composted. That would be something so easy, because they're really, they should be pretty clean from breakfast. They shouldn't have any syrup or anything on them, hopefully not. So when we think about working on the planet, we want to reduce what we use. So that's like not using the straws. We want to reuse things, like maybe a reusable water bottle. And then if we can't reduce it, if we can't reuse it, then we want to see if we can recycle it. Because this is our earth, and we want to make sure we take good care of it. We don't want to fill it up with a whole bunch of trash. So you guys were amazing listeners, and I think you guys had some really good ideas. Maybe go home and share some of this with your parents. Oh, one more slide. Okay. Sorry. We have a minute.
Can I go back to the sign up because they said they were going to change it.
Okay, so this is talking about composting at home. So you can talk to your parents about composting at home. I know we do. So you guys can do that. And what's the other one? What's that? Okay. All right. So can we say thank you to our first graders and our green team for